that the Cowboys were as close as they have been throughout the drought era at the end of the 2023 season. I'm not telling you that that team was better than 2018 or 2016 or 2014 or 2007 or whichever one of the drought teams was your favorite. I'm not here to argue that point. What I'm here to argue is that that team was so close. That team was so good. And that team got embarrassed in the worst possible way, in the most embarrassing way possible in the wild card round against the Packers. And that broke them. And they are still not all the way back together. They have gotten off the mat a bit, but they spent the entire 2024 season, not even season, they spent the entire 2024 calendar year laying on the mat, and not even moping about laying on the mat, but laying on the mat and just like twiddling their thumbs and be like, oh, we're laying on the mat right here. And then in 2025, they said, you know what? Maybe we'll get up. After they were silly about it a little bit some more. Like, think about the way this year started, this season started. This season started when the Cowboys waited a week to move on from Mike McCarthy, right? And then they found Brian Schottenheimer through a process that was whatever. And I think that, Sunday night was not great for him, but I think that we all feel good about that, after seeing this whole thing. Again, Sunday night was not great. But then, they built up some goodwill and built up some positive equity by being active in free agency by way of, free agents or veteran trades and whatnot. They had a draft that we were, pleased with at that point in time. They traded for George Pickens. And we were feeling like you were turning that ship around, but then they played their stupid games with Micah Parsons and undid it all. And training camp was fully and totally dominated by that entire storyline, only for them to trade him away 7 days before the season began. So this season has been under fire from the very beginning. And I don't mean the very beginning as in week one. I don't mean the very beginning as when they showed up to Oxnard when Jerry Jones trashed Terrence Steele and Trayvon Diggs. I mean back to when they waited and dragged their feet to move on from Mike McCarthy. They just procrastinated and procrastinated and procrastinated after procrastinating all throughout the 2024 calendar year. At some point, they have to fully stand up and get up off the mat and say, it's time to act like competent adults. And maybe 2026 is that. Famous last words, I know. But this whole thing, and we could go even further back. We could go back to how they should have extended Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb at the end of the 2022 seasons. This has been about a half decade's worth of mess that has just accrued interest on top of itself. And they are still buried underneath it. And until they decide to just swallow their pride and do some serious things about it, it's going to continue to haunt them in some way, shape, or form.